What you're hearing is a B flat blues jazzed up, and I'll show you where at in the song and how in this 12-bar blues setup. So the first thing you're going to hear is we're in B flat 7, and that's the 1 chord. The 4 chord is E flat 7, and the 5 chord is F7. And back to B flat. It's the basis of 12-bar blues, but we're going to jazz it up. So here we go. We start out with some pickup notes before the band comes in. And these are notes I'm selecting out of B flat mixolydian. So when the band comes in, I'm in on my chord. It's B flat, moving into a B flat 7, done with some hammer-ons in here. So from the pickup notes, so I'm trying to set up my chords on 1, so we give the tonality of the B flat 7 sound right out of the gate. First thing that happens on beat 1, I'm barring my index on the 4th thinnest strings, come in with a hammer on to the 7th fret, the D note on the 3rd string, and then I hit a B flat chord. So it's literally going B flat 7 to B flat. Hammer with the middle to the 7th fret, 3rd string. I do a ghost note, kind of a percussive groove. Add the 3rd finger to the B flat at the 8th fret, 4th string. That gives us. And then I put in some little licks in there. So what you're hearing is kind of a concept of playing chords on beats 1 and 2, and then play a little lead fill melody on 3 and 4 for the most part, except where the chords are changing quicker. And when we get there, we'll discuss that. That's the jazz element in here. So we had, and in this part here, I'm picking notes out of what you could see as pentatonic or mixolydian. Kind of a bit of both, kind of a mixo blues where I mix my pentatonics, blues, and mixolydian mode, so I just call it mixo blues. And what we're doing there is a pull off on the 3rd string, 8th fret, down to the root B flat, and I'm resting on the 5th scale degree of the B flat, which is an F note. All in all, slow tempo, what we have thus far. If you're having trouble remembering all that, don't worry, I got you covered. Go into the link in the description below and you can get access to the tab in tablature and in standard notation. So you can get all this note for note and absorb this stuff into your playing. And again, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and then you'll be in for the latest tips and tricks on guitar. So we have our first bar complete here. I go into measure 2. I've got the same kind of chord structure going into there. I've got my B flat 7, still in the B flat 7. I'm going to hammer on with my middle, drop in a ghost note, and I bring pinky and 3rd finger into play for this really tense B flat 7, which is the whole point of your 7th chords, to add some tension in there. So 3rd finger goes down to the B flat note on the 4th string. Pinky is playing the flat 7th note of the B flat, which is an A flat here at the 9th fret. So you've got, I got a little lick in there that's kind of cool, coming out of B flat blues indeed. So what I'm doing on that little lick, on beats 3 and 4, start from the flat 3rd, another tense note against the chord, because the chord has a D in it, but not a D flat, but it sounds really cool nonetheless. Pinky goes down to the 9th fret, 2nd string, and I'll use 3rd finger to bend, tucking downward with gravity on my side at the 3rd string, the 8th fret, hitting that blues note, back home to B flat, so that gives you back into B flat again, and using some mixolydian tones there in bar 3. Some kind of chord structure, but you want some lick variety. So I'm taking mixolydian here, coming from this type of mixolydian from the high D note. And kind of blues, as if you had, when I'm bending into that. That's a flat third bending up to the third. Flat third is tense and cool. It's not in a B flat 7 chord, but the D note is, it's the third, the most defining of it, aside from the flat 7. The third and the seventh being the most important in the chord tones. So there's our lick. Pull off 9th to the 8th fret on the 2nd string. Picking the 6th fret on the F note. Then I tug at the 6th fret 3rd string. And so when you do a traditional 12-bar blues, you've got usually, unless there's a quick change, which is a bar 2 quick change to E flat, the 4 chord, typically you're going to have, 9 times out of 10, a simple blues, 4 bars of B flat. So to add in a jazz element, I know I'm going to go up to that E flat and measure 5, so I'm going to approach it chromatically. There it is. So I'm going to fill one whole measure doing that type of thing. I don't want to hit the B on my chromatic walk up that you see I'm doing. It just sounds awful playing a flat 9 of B flat. See how awful that is? Now take a listen. So there I can add in some triplet-y feels. That's counting as a triplet 1 triplet. So it's B flat, and then an upstroke for the ghost note, C 7, D flat 7, D, and you're on to E flat. So we got. From there I'm going to play some licks. Let's break that down. So we've got an E flat, and you're going to do a hammer on into it 2 times. I come into a bend here. Whenever I can, I'm going to stack some fingers behind whenever possible for double the power. So I've got 3rd finger at the 11th fret, 2nd string, middle at the 11th fret, 3rd string. I'm going to do what's called an oblique bend. I'm only bending the 3rd string up to the pitch of the G note here, which forms the E flat 7 chord shape on the 4th thinnest string. So that gives me to my root of the E flat. So you got that chromatic walk up. We're adding our jazz element and trying to expand on our chord approaches rather than just 4 bars of B flat, 2 bars of E flat, and so on and so forth. Taking it back to where we were, slow-mo. And then from there, I'm reaching for an E flat 7 triad. That's frets 13. That's my root. Then I got the major 3rd at the 12th fret. That's my G note with the index there. And then I'm playing my flat 7 up here with my 3rd finger. Kind of a cool sound. And then I'm making my way back down to B flat that I'm anticipating here with the slide on the 2nd string. What that amounts to is just pentatonic. If you can hear that, right? So you have slide my 3rd finger and slurring. Then index is picking. And that'll give us what we want to get back down to box 1, which is kind of my objective with the B flat. Once I reach that B flat, I play what I just did. Similar moves, and I've got my chords on beat 1 and beat 2. All those chord shapes you can reach around there. While we're on the topic, you can get a couple of them out of there that are B flat 7th chords just with this one here, 2 fingers. You can build up to a regular B flat. You can also add that pinky in there on the 9th fret, 2nd string. Kind of fun to play around with. What I've got here is a triad I use after those chords. And I'm going to hit a blues note on there. So that's my triplet of a B flat done with a B flat chord, just major. So it's me. I'm doing 3 consecutive upstrokes here, and a downstroke here, 6th fret with the index, and I hammer on the minor 3rd to the major 3rd. So it's up to my major 3rd that's in the chord, the D note, 7th fret on the 3rd string. That gives you something like. So thus far, we've really gotten underway a lot with the B flat. We had the B flat, and then we went up chromatically to the E flat, back down to the B flat here. We've got one more measure of the B flat. And that's my next little lick. I'm going to anticipate that going into the F7 and the E flat 7. But one more bar to play around with here on the B flat 7. Let's take a look at what we're doing. We got our rhythm and groove on beats 1 and 2. We're setting up our standard stock rhythm that we have. We're trying to keep a thematic rhythm going so that everything sounds cohesive. 6th fret, bar that down, index, hammer the 7th fret, curl in the middle again. Technique trick is I'm pushing the wrist forward in front of me a little bit to get up and over that thinnest string. Don't want to bump other strings on these chords. I got some licks in there. Some sort of tricky finger maneuvers. Here's what I've got. I'm thinking of B flat pentatonic here. Pulling off on the thinnest string, pinky in first. And I'm going to take pinky to the 2nd string, 9th fret. And pick those. And I'm going to hammer on here from the 5th fret thinnest string to the 8th fret. I'm anticipating F right around the corner, and the major third of F is this A note, and then also my C is the 5th, so I'm trying to end up in the realm of F7 using some of the approach tones that I know are coming. And there it arrives in a version of the F7, which is our 5 chord. The F7 is going to go down to the E flat 7, as it typically does in a 12-bar blues. I didn't want to stack too much complication on with you. In the future we'll go in more complex, but this is a good start to give you the structures of the jazz elements in there. So from the B flat lick into the F7, hammer on. I'm doing an inversion of the F7 here. And what I've got is the major third under my middle finger on the 4th string, 3rd finger on the 8th fret 3rd string, index on the 6th fret 2nd string, finally pinky at the 8th fret thinnest string. There's my F7. And I'll do a pick and a ghost note. Then I slide from a half step below. It's kind of a grace note. It's really fast. Good thing to practice up. Using your slide technique. It's kind of a grace note, very brief. Half step below, very jazzy, bluesy thing to do. And I'm setting myself up for an E flat 7 chord that's around the corner. I've got a lick in F7. And what that is my 5th down to my minor 3rd, tugging it up to the major 3rd. Makes it scream blues. And this note here is walking into the E flat. And that's just the same thing down a half step. Like the way I was approaching the F7 a half step below with the slide. Back to the F7 lick. And now it sounds really cohesive then when you hear that E flat 7 in there, right? We kind of anticipate that growing up on blues and even some of the jazzy elements. And again, if it's hard to keep track of every single note in here, I know it would be for me. Take advantage of getting all the tab and notation in the link below. Click on that link. Get it all note for note. Here we are on our E flat 7 inversion. I really like this fingering and this chord voicing with that 3rd down here in the bass. And then my little lick I've got here on the E flat. It's kind of partially pentatonic, but partially an arpeggio I'm picturing. Take a listen. I'm trying to just take some notes from that range of the E flat. So again we had, and that brings us into a turnaround. Turnaround's the last 2 measures, and it's going to go B flat to the F7. From there, the song goes back to the beginning in a 12-bar blues, or it'll go to the ending. In this video, we got time to fit in 1 round of 12-bar blues, so we're going to take it to the ending. Let's look at that turnaround. Okay, so we got our B flat lick in there, arrive at the chord, do the usual thematic phrase we have, a bar chord, and then hammer in with the middle to get down to our B flat 7. I got a little lick here, just slow motion. I'm walking into the F7 sharp 9 chord. Let's look at that and what I've got here. I've got mixolydian, pull off on the second string, pinky to third, then my index. Then I got a little mixo blues, as I call it, blues note here. Minor third to the major third. So you got then the root B flat, 8th fret, 3rd string. And I'm going to do this thing here with my index because I got to walk into F7. So I'm going to slide index from the 6th fret, 5th string, E flat up to the E. Leave my middle free to grab that E7 sharp 9, which is super cool, aka the Hendrix chord, right? You see that one a lot in jazz. Here's the fingerings for it. If you don't know it, you got to know it. It's the Purple Haze chord, right? 8th fret, middle finger on the 5th string, index 7th fret, 4th string. Then I've got my 3rd finger on the E flat, 8th fret, 3rd string. Finally, my pinky's on the 9th fret, 2nd string, playing just those strings. That kind of a groove going. Down, up, down, down, down on the chord, up to ghost it. Just got to give it some character. We're going to take it to the end and resolve it to the B flat. Leave some tension there at the end, because after all, this is jazz blues, not pop, so we want that tension in there. That ending I had, just taking pentatonics in B flat. I'm on the F note, the 5th of B flat 7, and then I'm going to the 6th fret, 4th string to the 8th fret with a hammer on. Building my chord here, the usual chord, the thematic chord. Keep your fingers pressed down when the drum hits come in. I time it with the tense voicing where you add the pinky into the 9th fret and A flat note, 2nd string. Let's do all that again. Let's do it in slow mo so you can keep up. There's some of the terms I use in this, and some of this you can't quite keep track of it all. It's a bit much. Consider the link below. It's the link to my R&B course, the Guide to Explosive Growth. It'll give you all your foundational elements and everything you need to keep up with this and just really blossom and skyrocket on your guitar playing, okay? Again, don't forget to take advantage of the tab and notation below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video, guitar friend. It's going to be fun.